Welcome everyone, Scott here from Pillow, and in this video I'm going to cover whether service accommodation really is for you. Now the reason I've been prompted to make this video is service accommodation is a hot topic. It's something a lot of landlords want to get into and they jump in very enthusiastic and passionate about it at the start, but they realise it actually isn't for them, and that could be a month or two down the line when they've had a massive time and emotional investment in this, and then at the end they notice actually it's a strategy that's not right for them. So in the first instance I like to share a little bit of information with them, so I've decided to record it and put it out to everyone, not just potential clients. So there's four main points I want to cover that will be able to allow you to identify whether serviced accommodation is the right strategy for you. So the first thing I want to say is this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. A lot of people think that they are going to just jump into serviced accommodation and start making thousands of pounds every month. Well, there are some very specific cases where we can make that happen for people, but these are generally corporate properties and we have a lot of corporate guests waiting in some areas. So unless we have sourced the property for you or told you to get a specific one or approached you for your property when we know it's going to work, 95% of the times you're going to need to just put it onto the open market and Airbnb and the booking.coms and other portals of the world and get guests in on a more short-term basis. Now everybody wants corporate guests. They want to earn SA money for essentially what a buy-to-let type tenant is going to be, but there isn't enough corporate guests for everybody. At Pillow we're very lucky to get a good percentage of these in certain areas, but the 95% of people are not going to get a tenant straight away or a guest straight away that's going to get them a full month's occupancy. So this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. Doesn't matter what courses you've heard or seen, most people will put it on and it is going to be a little few months, maybe even 6 months, maybe even a year before your property makes the maximum amount of income that it can. So if you're launching a property in November, don't expect to be earning top whack for your property in November, December, maybe January, because these are slow, quiet months and you might earn a lot of your money in the summer. So as it get rich quick, it's a long-term strategy. Some people sometimes say, oh, I'll put it on for 3 months and see how we go on. Well, that's just not going to work because we look a year ahead, sometimes 18 months to 2 years ahead for our clients. So we want to work with people. This is a medium to long-term strategy. So you need to be in it for the medium to long term to see the kind of results, and again the results are fantastic with serviced accommodation. Coming from a buy-to-let background and having a letting agency that manages over 500 normal tenancies, I can tell you that nearly every single property makes more money as a serviced accommodation unit, but you do need to be in it for the long term. The second thing that means it might not be for you is the initial investment involved. Now if you have a property, you can essentially have a property and put it in the buy-to-let market for £500. That gets your gas safety check, your electrical safety check, smoke alarms, etc. So you can really be in the market for £500, but you're going to need that plus another couple of £1,000 worth of investment for serviced accommodation. So it isn't the same as furnishing it to a very basic level. You are going to need to put everything in it, pots, pans, cutlery, lots of bedding, tea towels. There's so many things and all this adds up. Now to do it to a decent standard, you're probably talking a couple of £1,000. Yes, you can go to IKEA, you can put old furniture in, you can go to charity shops, you can scrimp and save to get that stuff free and use existing stuff, but I guarantee your unit's not going to be able to compete with the other units out there. So I personally never suggest kitting it out yourself, furnishing it and spending months running about building furniture, putting it in. It's just not going to be able to compete with the other listings. And when you look at the portals that advertise these properties, they're becoming a very crowded marketplace, and people will just scroll down the screen and they'll just go straight past yours if you've put shit furniture in. So might be a couple of £1,000 for a one-bed unit. If you have a big 4-bedroom house, you might be talking £8,000 to kit this out to a standard that is going to allow you to compete for guests. So the initial investment means you are going to need to put some money into it. Now at Pillow we have some links with companies who do this so you can get it in finance and pay like £100 a month, which really helps your cash flow, but you are going to need to put the initial investment into this monetary wise to get your property up and running and at a good line and a good standard that means it's going to make money. Third thing is cash flow. Now, some people think, well, if I'm getting £500 a month from a buy-to-let, I can get £1,000 a month if I change it to serviced accommodation. Well, that might be true. You might be able to double your profits on average over a year. So your buy-to-let that's net cash flow and £6,000 profit in a year might make £12,000 profit, but it's not going to be every single month. So you might find the summer months, the 6 months period, your income is massive, and you might actually lose money some of the months. So if cash flow is important to you and you need a minimum amount every single month to pay the mortgage, and you need that money regardless, or you can't pay your property's mortgage out of existing funds, then this isn't going to be a strategy for you. Simple buy-to-let, get a tenant in, and all going well, you've got a tenant for a couple of years and you don't really have any cash flow issues. If you've got a property £800 a month, you know what you're getting. But with serviced accommodation, it can fluctuate. You could have a fantastic year and you've got a corporate let in well above the market rent, and you're getting much more than you would as a buy-to-let, but you've not got any void periods, you don't have any hassle, and you're making great money. But there could be a 2-month gap before you get that next person in. Likewise, it could be in the short-term rental market and you've had a fantastic 6 months period in the summer, but your area might be an area that just dies a death over the winter. So if you've maybe got a coastal resort or something like that where nobody goes when it's really bad weather, then that's going to be very prohibitive to your cash flow. So if you don't mind your cash flow fluctuating and peaking in the summer but going down in some areas, and that, by the way, it's reversed in some areas. So if you need that money and you can't wait and your property income starting to go up as it gets more and more popular and you get more future bookings in, then you need to stick to the buy-to-let or don't be a landlord. If cash flow is a massive importance and the difference of a few £100 a month is going to bankrupt you, then this is not going to be the strategy for you. So we say serviced accommodation needs to be in everybody's portfolio. You definitely need one unit in your portfolio. So if you have a nice big wide range of properties, make one of them a serviced accommodation unit because it will be maximising your income. But it might well be that you might need to sacrifice your cash flow. Now that said, that is sometimes we can get positive cash flow from day one. There is ways to do this, but be aware that some months you might earn less than what you would as a buy-to-let, and you might not be able to cover your mortgage, but you will make the money back in the peak months. So cash flow is another major concern that puts people off. The final one, I'm going to talk about repairs and ongoing investments. So your unit, although it's maybe not going to have as much wear and tear on it as a buy-to-let might, you're going to need to put money into this regularly. You're going to need to keep everything looking good and perfect. If there's a wee scuffed hallway, you get away with it as a buy-to-let and you can just do that at the end of the tenancy, or the tenant does it. But here you need to make sure your property's in tip-top condition. It's not good enough to leave stains in carpets. It's not good enough to not have everything working. And repairs is something that need to be actioned immediately. So if you have a boiler, we need authorisation to get that boiler fixed at any time of day, night, year, whatever. You can't say, well, I'm just going to leave that 3 days. As a buy-to-let, you might be able to appease your tenant and do something, but when people are only there for a weekend, you cannot leave people paying massive high rates and not having heating or electricity or something not working. So you need to work with us to ensure that your property is going to be maintained, and the fact that you need to put some ongoing investment in this. So as a buy-to-let, you might not do anything and you might have a big major refurb every 5 years, but with serviced accommodation, guests are coming and going, sometimes twice, 3 times a week. So you need to schedule the time in to upgrade your properties, because as time goes on, you want your properties looking good. And we always say invest some of your profits back. So if you're a tight-ass landlord that's been arguing all the time with tenants about doing repairs and leaving them without heating for a couple of days, this simply can't happen as a serviced accommodation landlord. It's totally different. So I always say to people, you need to get out of being in the property game. So buy-to-let landlords on property, serviced accommodation operators are in hospitality. It's totally different. Imagine going to a hotel room for a night and them saying, well, yeah, I'm not replacing your light bulbs, or yeah, the Wi-Fi's not working, or well, don't worry about hot water, we're getting that fixed next week, you'll just need to deal with it. It would be unacceptable. You would not accept this in any other field, any other hotel, guest house, anything. So why should your guest accept it? So if you are that landlord that doesn't want to spend a penny, that wants to just suck in like a leech all the profits and not put anything back into their business, because it's not a property, it's a hospitality business, then it's not going to be right for you. So you're going to need to take the advice of your agent or the feedback of your guests, and if they say the bed's uncomfortable, you're going to need to get a new bed for the next guest. If you don't make it a constant, ongoing effort to keep your properties well maintained and in good condition and improve them as time goes on, you're going to get bad reviews and it's going to have a detrimental effect on future bookings, resulting in not making money. So they're the 4 things. I'll recap them very quickly. It isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. You need to be in this for the long to medium term. It sometimes might be a month, but it might be a year before you start making maximum money. So not a get-rich-quick scheme. The next thing is an initial investment. You might need to put some money into furniture. Now that might be via finance and you can pay it off, but that still is taking a finance agreement, or you're furnishing up to £8,000 more for bigger properties yourself. So you do need to make that initial investment. And if you don't have any funds and you don't want to take finance, then you're not pointless doing SA. It's not going to be a strategy for you. The next thing is fluctuating cash flow. You need to be ready for that. You need to be cool for that. So if you've got a bigger portfolio, then that's going to be okay for you. But if this is your only one and cash flow is a bit tight, and not having guests in is going to mean you can't pay your own mortgage in the house you live in, then that's going to be a problem. We would say SA is not the strategy for you. And the fourth one, is ongoing investment and repairs. You need to do it yourself or give authorisation to get things fixed and have a make it right policy for your guests. Guests just aren't going to wait days, they're going to be gone. So you need to have people on hand. You need to give us authorisation if we're managing your property to have things ready to go so that we can keep the guests happy, and we can, even if things go wrong, which happens, we can still get you a 5-star review for your property. So not doing those things and not investing in your property and keeping guests happy, it is going to result in not being a success. So it's not for everyone. Serviced accommodation is a really, really attractive thing when you ban things like doubling your profit, getting 10 times the profit in some instances. We've seen landlords making 50 quid profit a month, and we've managed to get them £1,000 profit. That's 20 times the profit. So who doesn't want to be in such a strategy? Why would you make 50 if you could make £1,000 a month? So it is very attractive, and those numbers get a lot of people in, but at the end of the day, it's just not right for them for the 4 things we spoke about there. So I hope this video has been informative. If after watching this you think it's still a strategy for you, then please get in touch. We can tell you more about serviced accommodation. There's other videos there, so please look at the YouTube channel. Lots of free content given. Follow us on Facebook and all the other social media channels. I tend to put a video out every couple of days, sharing it as the best valuable content I can. So thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking with you soon.